Hello, class. Chapter 23, Cooking from Memory. Martin and a few of the cooks arrived as my mom and I finished cooking. We placed little fillets with crispy onions on platters and scooped blue cheese mashed potatoes into serving bowls. The pescado a la sal had hardened perfectly. It looked like the fish was wrapped tightly in a salt cocoon. My mom said fish cooked that way always came out exactly how fish should taste. We made a little tomato-based sauce to go with the fish, and then we took the guinea hens and oxtail and arranged them in a ceramic serving dish. For appetizers, we made plantain chips, crispy yucca fries, and bacalao fritters. There were all kinds of salads tossed with green mango, papaya, strawberries, oranges, everything. We cooked up little masitas de puerco, which were basically little fried balls of pork. We had enough food to feed 20 square blocks. Next, my cousins arrived and started to take the trays of food to the dining room and patio. Cars parked in the now infamous lot, and people who loved Abuela made their way inside. Brian had printed out a huge photo of Abuela and placed it at the entrance of the patio. We kept the front closed so people would have to come in from the lot. My dad wanted everyone to see Abuela before they entered to eat. "Hey," Carmen said behind me, slouching and smiling. Little drops of sweat covered her nose and made her freckles look bigger. "The food smells delicious," she said. "Thanks," I said. More cars pulled up and a few people approached with bags and balloons and flowers. Mr. Michaels carried a stack of books and gave them to us. Chuchi came dressed like she was at a gala. Enrique presented my mom with a beautiful portrait of Abuela. Friends and friends of friends showed up by the dozens. The Dominguez family brought about 15 people and 3 bags of heirloom tomatoes to the memorial dinner. It was awesome. Carmen had her hair in pigtails and wore bright green jeans with a yellow and white tank top. I could tell she had been hanging decorations off the trees because of the little twigs and leaves stuck in her hair. "Come, I have something to show you," she said. She took my hand and led me outside. "Okay, close your eyes." Before I did, I looked at Carmen. It was around 8 o'clock and the sun was finally setting against the purplish sky. Her eyes were bright with flecks of honey color in them, almost like a radioactive beehive. Like she requested, I closed my eyes. "Open them." She pointed to a floribunda bush. Carmen caressed the small bud and stood back to admire it. "How did you get it over here? The nursery is at least 5 blocks away." I had a little help from Vanessa and the green teens. Carmen opened her arms in triumph. "You like it?" I looked at Carmen and admired the fully bloomed roses. Then I stared at one rose in particular. It was a white rose, like the one I'd seen at Abuela's funeral. "Arturo, you okay?" Carmen asked. I didn't answer. I just stared as more guests filed into the restaurant. Abuela's favorite music played from the speakers Brian had set up inside. As everyone ate and danced and laughed, it almost felt like the old days, like Wilfredo Pipo had never stepped foot in our neighborhood. Only Abuela could create this feeling. Then the author uses one of those little symbols. When the memorial was over, everybody helped clean up. My family, our neighbors, nobody complained. We were all happy to do it. Abuela would have loved to see this. After taking out the last bag of garbage, Vanessa came over to say goodbye. "I never got to tell you, but I am very impressed with your commitment, Arturo. Very impressed." "Thanks." "You should run for student council next year. I could use a tenacious spirit on my team." I stared blankly. I'll think about it." Before she walked out, Vanessa turned around and handed me a flyer. "I'm going to hold a sit-in tomorrow morning in front of the restaurant, before the vote." "Why?" Vanessa looked at her phone and scrolled through it. "You forget, Primo," she said. "I'm a Zamora. Giving up is not in my nature. I sent a message out to 5 of the youth groups I belong to. Wow, that's a lot of people. My intel tells me Wilfredo plans to have a bulldozer on the lot first thing in the morning. We're going to be there to make sure he doesn't try anything. Okay, I said. These groups all live for good old-fashioned advocacy. I was really proud of my cousin and slightly intimidated she wanted me to join her political activist team at school next year. Vanessa finally left and Mop's parents were the next to say goodbye to me. Mop's dad started by handing me a letter. I'm sorry he couldn't make it, Arturo. We got buried in work and just couldn't get up there. He was really bummed. That's okay, I said, taking the letter. He really misses you, Arturo. Me too, I said. Your food was delicious, by the way. Abuela would have been proud, he said, patting my shoulder. Thanks. Mop's dad put his arm around Mop's mom, and they walked out of the restaurant to their car. I found Carmen as I got to the lot. It was empty, only a few cars still parked. The street lamp on the corner was the only light shining on us. I thought about the first time Carmen and I were there. Uncle Frank joined us outside. Delicious food, Arturo. Thanks, I said. He gently rubbed my hair. An incredible chef, he said, looking at Carmen. Just like Abuela. Verdad, mi amor? Carmen nodded, and I dug my hands into my chef's apron as deep as they could go. My throat and stomach took turns, dancing and twirling with the rest of my organs. It was a salsa party of nerves, embarrassment, and maybe, kind of, excitement. Oh, I forgot to give this back, I said, and handed Carmen her book of poems, which I had tucked into my apron so I would remember to return it. Oh, you found my book, she said, then thanked me. Yeah, it was, inside one of the mailboxes, I lied. Carmen took the book and waved goodbye. The author uses another little symbol. After the memorial, I went straight home to read Mop's letter. It was exactly how I wanted to end my night. So here's his letter. Hey, Arturo. What's up? Sorry we haven't talked. I'm only allowed to use the camp phone once a week because we're supposed to be communing with nature. Camp is pretty cool. Lots of interesting people. Mostly they're from Georgia and North Carolina and North Florida, like the Panhandle. Our camp cabins have no AC, and you can't leave the windows open at night because the mosquitoes will murder you. Did you hear about Bren? He mailed me a picture of his girlfriend, who he met the first day he got to the Dominican Republic, but it was taken from like 30 yards away, and she wasn't even looking at the camera. The girls here are really into the outdoors. There's this cool girl, Autumn, who wears a bandana, and she knits. Can you believe that? A 13-year-old girl who knits and wears a bandana? She's so mature. Like she could be a manager at a coffee shop or something. Anyway, I'm thinking of wearing sandals more and combing my hair into a bun. Do you think Autumn would be into that? I don't know. It's weird to think about this stuff. Like 3 months ago, we were happy hanging out on Saturdays and playing ball all day. Now we're thinking about girls all the time. I don't know about you, but it hurts my head. Maybe I'll buy some yarn for Autumn for her knitting. What do you think? Anyway, hope the restaurant kicks Wilfredo's butt in the bid. See you in a few weeks. Your bud, Benjamin Mop Darcy. The next chapter, 24, is called Ready to Roll Call. Hey, make sure you respond to 2 of the prompts in the discussion for today. So maybe you tell a summary of the chapter and a connection, or you talk about predictions and questions, but make sure you respond to 2 for full credit. Keep up the great work.